Hello everyone, my name is the Retrodan and welcome to a video where I will be listing all the Star Wars games you can platinum as of today. Just before we start the video, I just want to note we are going to be excluding PS3 games since those aren't really as accessible as they should be, like the PS4 and PS5 ones, which can be readily bought from the PSN store. Starting off, we have the only VR game from the Star Wars franchise which has a platinum trophy, which is Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy's Edge, which is a small side story with some noticeable characters that takes place between movies 5 and 6. Moving on, we have to talk about the retro Star Wars games that are on current gen, because there are quite a lot, which is surprising, so let's get right into it. Starting off, I have to pair these two, Star Wars Jedi Knight 1 and 2, Jedi Academy and Jedi Outcast, which are Star Wars games from the Legends universe which have amazing combat lightsaber simulation. The games do have some online and multiplayer trophies, so keep that in mind before you go into them and maybe ask a friend to play them with you. Next up, we have Star Wars Episode 1 Racer, which its title is pretty descriptive. It's a game that takes place on Episode 1 and all you have to do is pod race. It's basically a racing game with few Grand Prix to go through and tracks, and you get trophies from everything relating to speed, finishing races and finishing groups of races. None of the trophies in this game are really hard, so if you want a small simple Star Wars game to get into and platinum, this might be it for you, which is a similar case for the next game we have, which is Star Wars Republic Commando. This was a game I mentioned in my last video, and it's a game that takes place in the Clone Wars and you play as 4 elite troopers, basically a squad of Republic Commandos, and you have to go through various missions throughout the Clone Wars, which are a lot of fun. You get some tactical side of the gameplay and some FPS gameplay, which is really good for the date when it was published. This game stays within the trend of the shorter side and should take you about 15 hours to platinum. There are a lot of other retro Star Wars games you can play on the PS5, but these are the only ones that have a platinum. The other ones are only restricted to 100% and bronze, silver and gold trophies. For the most random game in this list, we have Angry Birds Star Wars for the PS4. Do you remember the game where you throw some birds at some pigs? Well, basically for some reason they made it for Star Wars or about Star Wars, and it has a platinum trophy on the PS4. This is not a game I would personally play, but if you are interested in getting all the Star Wars related trophies, this is a game you must buy as well. And this is where we reach the current stuff, in which I have some more to say. Starting off with Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2 by DICE and EA. Let me preface this part by saying if you are someone who values your completion percentage on your PSNP or Steam, do not buy Star Wars Battlefront 1. This game has a very small community which is focused around the DLC maps and private lobbies, so if you want to get the platinum, you will have to boost it with big communities of around events of 60 people, and it will be very hard for you to find those boosting groups nowadays. Star Wars Battlefront 2 on the other hand is not the same case. It still has a big community around it, a lot of players, and you can still get the platinum the normal way. Despite that, the game isn't simple as you think, and it can be quite hard to platinum. Most of the trophies consist of online multiplayer grinding, which can take some considerable level of skill to get to. The other online multiplayer game which is really hard to platinum from the Star Wars franchise is none other than Star Wars Squadrons. Star Wars Squadrons is a game about dogfighting which takes a lot of skill to platinum, including online multiplayer just like the other two games. Now, if you take into consideration the amount of people that still play Star Wars Squadrons and the amount of skill it takes to get the platinum trophy, this is a game I would personally advise against for the same reasons I did in Battlefront 1. Nevertheless, if you don't care about all the trophy hunting shenanigans, you can surely play this game because it's still a lot of fun if you are a Star Wars fan and enjoy the dogfighting aspect of this franchise. More on the single player part of things, we have firstly the LEGO games. Starting off, we have LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens, which is more on the side of traditional LEGO games, so the older ones, and if you want more of a traditional experience of collecting and going through set levels, this is going to be the game for you. On the other hand, you have a modern, really modern game with huge open worlds, which is a game I recently platinumed myself, taking 91 hours, which is LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. If you are a fan of LEGO Star Wars, I would say the latter one is the best one to pick out of the two, because it has a way more content, it's more modern, it has better graphics, a lot more to explore, and it isn't as linear as you might expect from a LEGO game. To finish off the list of platinums that have released until now, you have none other than Star Wars Jedi Survivor and Fallen Order. Fallen Order is available on the PS4 and PS5, while Jedi Survivor, for obvious reasons, is only available on the PS5. These are the Star Wars games that take place after the Revenge of the Sith movie, which are going to be taking you through the adventures of young Jedi Padawan Cal Kestis. Some people like to address these games as Soul-likes, but in my honest opinion they don't compare to the difficulty of a Souls game, so don't get discouraged if you hear these things about these two games, and go play them if you are a Star Wars fan, because they are a must. While Jedi Fallen Order is a smaller, more concise game, you will definitely want to play Jedi Survivor after it, because it builds up on the story and improves a lot on the gameplay qualities of the first one. Now I want to give two honorable mentions for Star Wars games that are coming out this year, one very soon and one later in the year, which are Star Wars Battlefront Remastered Collection, a remaster of the two Star Wars Battlefronts that came out way back in 2004 and 2005 for the PS2, and of course the Ubisoft game Star Wars Outlaws, which will take place in a different setting of the Star Wars universe with no lightsabers. It will see you playing as a scoundrel throughout the Star Wars galaxy. I myself love Star Wars and have some of these platinums. If you have them, make sure to tell me down in the comments. I hope I motivated or maybe let you find some Star Wars games that had platinums that you didn't know about. Make sure, if you have any doubts, comment down in the comments. Subscribe if you want more videos, like everything, all that algorithm jazz. This has been the Retro Den, and I'm out.